Right, so we have a couple of options to begin. Either you might want to start seated in the chair. If you are seated in a chair, I would invite you, this is quite a creaky chair, it's probably not the most comfortable, but I would invite you to rest back at the beginning and end of practice, even if possible, maybe see if you can have some head support. And that might be with the wall, which you can see that I'm being supported by the wall here, or it might be by a cushion if your chair doesn't come that high, or maybe you've got a high back chair. So wherever you are, it's really important to begin the practice as relaxed as possible. And you still might be quite far back in the chair, but also make sure that the soles of your feet are in contact with the floor. And if you feel comfortable getting down onto the mat, we're going to begin on our backs. So just taking a moment to prepare your position. Now we haven't warmed up yet, so it's really important to kind of protect the body. Now this doesn't always work for people in terms of breathing and comfort. So if this isn't working, then please do have a chair close by so you can kind of modify the movements. And you might find that if your head needs a little bit of extra support, you might have something behind your head that might feel comfortable. Or actually, if you feel it's shifting you forwards too much, you might actually take that out. I tend to prefer not to have something behind my head, but just listening to your body because we're all different. And then to begin with, I invite you to bring your feet as wide as the mat. The knees are bent, the soles of the feet in contact with the earth, and then gently rest the knees in towards each other. And this is called constructive rest pose. So you can come into this position at any time, and generally it's a very restful position for the hips, for the lower back and the pelvis. However, of course, if this isn't comfortable for you, then modify this as you need to. Or if you have a bolster, maybe you put the bolster underneath the knees, and that just slight bend in the knees helps to protect the lower back. When we come into full extension of the legs, it puts quite a lot of pressure on the lower back. It causes us sometimes to overarch, and that can be quite uncomfortable. So if there's any discomfort there, bending the knees can help with that. So just taking a moment, we've all got the soles of our feet in contact with the earth. Maybe the hands are resting on the lap in sitting or on the body somewhere. I invite you to bring one hand to the lower belly. As today we're going to be focusing on opening through the hips. Now, you might already know that one or both of your hips are quite tight or stiff. Maybe they've been impacted by your treatment. So just being kind to our bodies today and only moving in a way that feels comfortable. And as we arrive into the practice, taking a moment to connect to the breath, bringing awareness as the breath moves in and out of the body. And where possible in our practice, always observing, bringing awareness without judgment. Just noticing how the body's feeling today, how the breath is flowing. If you're feeling any experience of fatigue or reduced energy, sometimes the breath can feel a little more challenging, a bit more shallow. So just taking a moment to observe and notice if it's possible to be able to deepen your breath. So that hand on the lower belly, see if that hand can expand, rise a little greater. And maybe the rib cage can expand and widen a little more. Our hips and pelvic area are linked to our sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, which is the lower part of our spine, the sacrum. And this is often referred to as our feeling chakra. So where we hold a lot of our emotions. So maybe recognizing whether you've been holding a certain emotion, maybe a few emotions recently, and whether you feel ready to release them. You might experience a physical, an energetic, or maybe an emotional response to your practice today. And we'll take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale in through the nose if that's available. And a big sigh out through the mouth. Release anything you're holding on to. And then when you're ready, maybe one knee at a time, or if it's comfortable, both together, draw your knees up into your chest and lift the soles of the feet off of the floor. And we'll gently rock the knees side to side. The hands can rest just at the top of the shins below the kneecap, or maybe behind the knees if that's more comfortable for you. Bringing awareness to the pelvis, the sacrum, the lower back and the hips, and just noticing how that feels. Now, if you are seated on a chair, you'll notice that bringing both legs up together is quite challenging. So maybe you start to circle one knee at a time, alternate in one direction. You can also do this with one knee at a time if you're lying on the earth as well. And then if you're lying down, both knees are lifted, I invite you to start to make circles with your knees. Bring your knees together and take the circle in the same direction. And if you're seated or taking one knee up at a time, then change direction of your circles. If both knees are lifted, I invite you to change the direction of your circle now. And then just to bring a little more movement into the hips, start to make individual circles with your knees. So they're now moving in the opposite directions. So we start to open into the hips and the groin a little more. If you're seated, maybe you change direction again. You might go a little deeper if that feels comfortable, if the hips are starting to warm up. And then change direction, whether you're seated or lying. Take one more circle in this direction. And then slowly lower the left foot down to the earth, and we'll straighten through the right leg. Bring your hands somewhere behind the back of the leg, maybe the top or the bottom of the thigh, and start to straighten through your right leg. You might feel quite a strong stretch in the back of the leg, in the hamstring, maybe in the calf. And then start to point your toes towards your body and then away from your body, and feel that stretch increase at the back of the leg as you draw your toes towards your body. And then maybe at the front of the ankle into the shin as you point your toes up to the sky. So just getting a little bit more movement. Also, this is really great to stretch through the nerves as well. And if you're seated on a chair, we're still using the right leg. Going to straighten through the right leg. You might actually shift your weight forwards to the edge of your chair. Straighten through the right leg. Point the toe up to the sky and start to bring your weight forwards. The gaze is still facing forwards. We're not rounding through the spine. Stay open through the chest. And now all together, point your toes towards your body, whether you're lying or sitting, and we'll take 3 deep breaths here. Feel that stretch in the back of the leg. And slowly release. If you are sitting, straighten through your left leg and bring the outside of the right foot to your left shin. Or if it's available and the hip allows, maybe you keep a bend in that left leg and bring the outside of the foot to the thigh. So that's quite powerful in the hips. So this is our, what we call our reclined pigeon or seated pigeon. If this is too much, then straighten through your left leg and bring the outside of the foot to the shin instead. So if you're lying down, we're still having that left foot in contact with the earth. And we're going to bring the outside of the right foot to the left thigh, usually just above the kneecap. And we'll begin by drawing the right knee towards the left shoulder and then away from the body. So just bringing a little bit more movement here into the hip, into the groin, and bringing awareness to how this feels. And now drawing the right knee away from the body. Either stay here for 3 breaths. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can interlace your hands behind your left thigh, lift the left foot away from the earth, and take 3 breaths here. This is our reclined or seated pigeon. If you're sitting, the left foot stays in contact with the earth. We're just exploring opening up that right knee. One more deep breath. And slowly release, bringing the right foot down onto the earth. Now we'll straighten through the left leg, interlace the hands behind the thigh, and begin by pointing the toe towards and then away from the body. Feel that stretch in the back of the leg. If you're seated in your chair, staying at the edge, straightening the left leg, right leg is bent. Hinge from the hips, and you might notice one side feels particularly tight, maybe the other's a little looser. So just observing again without judgment, and then flexing the toes towards the body. We'll take 3 breaths here. Keep the shoulders softened, lightly part the lips to release the jaw. And slowly release. If you're seated, maybe you bring the outside of the left foot up onto the right thigh. If that's too powerful, straighten the right leg and bring it to the outside of the shin. It can be as close to the ankle as you need, and open up into the knee here. And you can explore opening the knee. And if you're lying on the earth, and now opening through the left hip, moving towards the right shoulder and then away from the body. And if you'd like to go a little deeper, we'll all guide the knee away from the body for 3 breaths. Maybe you interlace the hands behind the right thigh and bring the right leg parallel with the earth. You might notice my toes are pointing up to the sky, so my legs, my feet are active. And you can feel that stretch often in the outside of the left hip. Taking one more deep breath here. And slowly release. Again, whether you're seated or lying, bring your feet as wide as the mat, hands either side of the body, and gently rock the knees side to side. You can rest back into the chair if that feels comfortable, or maintain your upright position. Just bringing awareness. Hopefully the hips are feeling a little more open. You can go as deep into this rotation as feels right for the body. And come back to the center. Bring the inner borders of your feet together. And if it's available, start to bring the soles of the feet so they're touching. And you'll notice the knees start to open and go a little wider. This is our Supta Baddha Konasana, our lying down cobblers or butterfly pose. And see if it's possible to open into the knees and the hips. You might bring your hands to the outside of the thighs for a little support. Maybe you'd like to do one at a time if that feels more comfortable. Really important to listen to the body, and the soles don't have to fully touch. It might just be the inner borders that touch the big toe edge of the foot. And if you're lying, maybe you're here. Or again, if that's too powerful, just one at a time. And if you are one at a time, I invite you to swap over now. And we'll take 3 more deep breaths here. Maybe you soften your gaze. Direct your breath into the groin, the sacrum, and the pelvis. And when you're ready, bring your hands to the outside of your thighs. Slowly bring your knees back into the center. And then we'll start to come up onto our hands and knees. So rolling onto one side if you're sitting. If you prefer to stay in the chair, then please do. Come back to the edge of your chair if you're not there already. And then we'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, preparing for our cat-cow flow. If you need a little extra padding through the knees, maybe you use a blanket, a soft block, even a jumper can help to give you extra padding. And same for the wrists. You might want something for a little extra support, or maybe make a fist and come onto your knuckles. It can be a bit kinder for the wrists. So if your palms are flat, spread your fingertips, and together on the next inhale, we'll gently lift the tailbone and arch the lower back. Start to open through the chest bone just a little as you take your gaze to the top of your mat. Squeeze your shoulders away from your ears and take a breath here into the front of the body. And as you exhale, maybe you push into the tops of the feet, the fingertips or the knuckles. Tuck the tailbone and round through the spine. Bring your chin to your chest. And we come into our cat pose. Take your gaze to your knees or maybe up to your belly button. And take a deep breath here into the back of the body. And now we'll flow. Inhale, lift the tailbone, gently arch the lower back. Open the chest, maybe a little deeper. And exhale to tuck and round through the body, chin to chest. And flowing with your breath, we can do this also in seated. At the edge of the chair, hands resting on the thighs. Inhale, gently arch the lower back. Squeeze the elbows together, open through the chest bone. Exhale, chin to chest, round through the spine. So just starting to deepen the movements into the body, into the spine, but also bring your awareness to your hips. And as we flow through our cat-cow sequence, just noticing the slightly deeper movements through the hips here. Taking one more flow. Continue to breathe in and out. Release the back of the head as you round through the body. And then if you're on your hands and knees, coming into a slightly deeper sequence in the hips. If you're seated, continue with your cat-cow flow. I invite you to step your hands forwards, bring your big toes together and your knees a little wider than hip width. And on your exhale, bring your sit bones back towards your heels, just as much as feels comfortable. It might not be very far at all. And then inhale, bring your weight forwards, not too far forwards, just as much as feels comfortable. So now we're coming forwards and backwards and just getting a little bit more movement into the hips, stretching through the back of the body, and then still opening a little through the front of the body. And if you're seated, we're still coming through our cat-cow flow. Take 2 more flows. Only go as far as feels right for your body. And then slowly release. We've done a little bit of work on our arms. So we'll just release and let the movement flow. So inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Keep a bend in the elbow if you need to, and connect the palms wherever feels comfortable for your body. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, draw back towards the heart space. Once more like this. Inhale to open. And exhale, come back to your center. And this time, inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, release the hands and the breath. Twice more like so. Inhale. And then slowly release. If you're happy to stay on your hands and knees, we'll step the right foot forward. If you've got a slippery floor, you might want to take your socks off. My feet are still a little bit too cold. So I invite you to bring your foot off of the mat and then rotate the foot to the top right corner of your room. So we're now on our hands and knees. Now, it can be quite useful to, if you'd like to go a little deeper, you might have something to lift the earth to you. That might be a block or a blanket, maybe a book. We'll start with our hands on our hips and gently rocking the weight forward. So we're opening through the hips, but you'll notice that the knees coming out to the side. So we're opening a little more into that right hip as well. This is the beginning of our lizard pose. And what's really important is the right knee doesn't come over the ankle. So if it's a little close to the body and the knee's coming over the ankle and foot, then you've gone a bit far. So maybe step the foot out a little more, or don't go as deep into your flow. So option 1 is, if you're on the mat, to have your hands on your hips or in prayer position, coming forwards and backwards. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you might bring the earth up to you and come here. Now you'll feel this is quite a lot deeper into the hips. You can even not have a block or a support there and go even deeper if your hips are quite open. What's really important is that the chest bone is open as well. So we've got a few options there on the mat. Or if you're in the chair, your right leg comes out to the side. And I'm going to invite you to actually bring your left leg out to the side as well, toes pointing in opposite directions. And we're going to circle through the body. So we still get that lovely movement into both hips. And then when we change legs, we're going to change direction. So you might be here on the chair, circling through the body, going a little bit deeper into the hips. or maybe you're on the mat. And we're going to take 3 or 4 more flows wherever you are, just loosening into the hips here. And final flow, slowly release. And now bring the weight back. Hands do come onto the hips or into prayer. Lift up your right toes, keep a slight bend in the knee, and keep the chest open. So we're not rounding through the body, the chest is still open, and we'll come back into that hamstring stretch that we started with. And we'll take 3 breaths here. Again, if you're seated, both feet out to the side. We're just going to lift the right toes and come forwards. And take 2 more breaths. And slowly release. If you're seated, come back to both feet pointing out to the side, and we'll change direction. I hope I've changed direction here. So if you were going clockwise, come to anti-clockwise, or vice versa. And hands can be wherever feels comfortable. If you're on the mat, I'm going to change my direction so it's a little easier to see. We're going to step the right foot in and then bring the left foot out to the side off of the mat. Rotate the foot to the top left corner of your room. And then you have a few options here. Maybe the hands come onto the hips to begin with, as you just start to explore the movement in your hips. You might feel more of a stretch in the right hip as we open, or maybe into that left hip joint. Or maybe hands are at the heart space, or onto your block or book or whatever prop you have, or maybe they're onto the earth. So just listening to the body, keep the chest open. And we'll take 3 more flows. And slowly release. If you'd like to keep your hands on the earth, you can, as you lift up through the left toes. Keep a slight bend in the knee, bring your weight back a little, sit bones back towards your right heel. Or if you'd prefer, hands can come to the waist or to your prayer position. And if you're seated, lifting up through the left toes this time, and bring your weight forwards. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And slowly release. Lovely. If you're on the mat, heel toe your foot back into the center, and we'll step the back foot to come and join the front foot, and then slowly come to standing. And I invite you here, if you're sitting or standing, just do any movements that feel nice. That might be with the shoulders or with the hips, the legs, maybe coming back to that shaking if that felt good. So anything that feels nice for your body. And release the breath. And if you are comfortable to be standing, maybe you'd like a little bit of balance support close by, a wall, a chair, table, something stable. This also might be an opportunity for you to take your socks off if you need a little extra grip. I'm just going to change my mat position here. And now we're going to come into a balance pose, 2 balance poses. So first of all, if you're standing, you might bring yourself a little bit closer to something stable now. And as if you're mirroring me, this is the left leg. I invite you to take hold of your left foot and draw your left heel towards your sit bone. Now, if that doesn't feel possible for you, maybe you have something close by, like a belt or a dressing gown strap. You can wrap that around the top of the foot. If you prefer and you're actually sitting and that feels more comfortable, maybe you come to the edge of the chair and step that left foot all the way back. So we're just going to come a little bit more into our quad stretch, our thigh stretch. So wherever you are, whether you're seated or standing, guiding the left heel as close to the sit bone as possible if you're standing, or the foot as far back to open into that hip, also through the thigh. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. Soften through that left shoulder, strong through the right leg. Hopefully you can feel that stretch into the front of your thigh. Take 1 more deep breath here. And slowly release. Shake out through that right leg, your stabilizing leg, or maybe both. Take a deep breath. And then we'll come to the other side. You might want to reposition yourself if you need to hold on to some support. And we'll take hold of the top of the right foot, guiding the right heel as close to the sit bone as feels available. See if you can point your right knee down towards the floor to open up through the hip a little more. Keep it tucked in so it's quite close to your left leg. It's not coming out to the side here. Or maybe if you're seated, come to the edge of the chair and step your right foot back here. So partly stretching the muscle, but also partly working on balance and strength. So we're strong through that left leg. If you lose your balance, it's okay. Just come back in if it feels comfortable for 1 more breath. And slowly release. We'll now shake out through the left or maybe both legs. Big sigh out. And now we're going to challenge our balance again by coming into our tree pose. So you might want to, we're going to give our left leg a break. So come onto our right leg, strong and stable through that leg. So the knee's not locked. We're lifting up through the kneecap so the thigh is strong. And we'll begin with the sole of the left foot alongside the the right inner ankle. And it might be that opening up the left knee here, coming to prayer position, this feels enough. So we have the right sole and the left big toe in contact with the earth. If you'd like to go a little deeper, maybe you slide the sole of your left foot to the inner calf. Or if you'd like to go even deeper, you might use your hand to help guide it to your inner thigh. It's really important that you miss the knee, because if you put pressure through the knee joint, it can cause some irritation there. And if you're preferring to sit down for your tree pose, then I invite you to straighten through your right leg and again bring the outside border of your left foot towards your shin. We'll just open up here into the hip. Taking 2 more breaths. Stay tall through the body. And slowly release, again shaking out through the right or both legs. And then we'll come to the other side. Tall through the left leg now, squeeze the left glutes. Bring the sole of the right foot to the left inner ankle, maybe to the inner calf, or maybe guide the foot to the inner thigh. And wherever you are, see if you can open up your right knee as much as feels comfortable. If you need to hold on for support, please do. Come back to your breath. And take 1 more deep breath here. Slowly release. And gently shake out through the left, maybe both legs again. And now we're going to start to come into whichever position you'd like to finish your practice. So we've opened the hips, we've built up to standing. Now you might come to a comfortable seat on your chair, or you might come back onto your back where you started your practice. Again, making sure that the head is supported. This time you might feel able to straighten through your legs. That feels okay in the lower back. If it's still a little uncomfortable, even if it's only slightly uncomfortable, I'd still invite you to bend your knees and rest them in towards each other as your feet come wide. And we'll now bring both hands to the lower belly, the pelvic sacral area. And I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze, bringing your awareness to your hips, pelvis, groin, and sacrum. And as you allow the breath to flow in and out of the body, directing the breath, your prana, towards your sacral chakra, towards these parts of your body. As we take a few moments here, maybe a minute or two, to enjoy a moment of relaxation after our movement, an awareness to any physical, emotional, or energetic release or response to our practice today, particularly around the hips. If you'd like to stay in your Svadhisthana, please do. Otherwise, I invite you to start to deepen your breath. Again, following the channel as the breath moves deep into the body, opening further your sacral chakra. Start to bring some gentle movements into the body, maybe into the fingers and the toes. And if you'd like to, if it feels comfortable, maybe you come to a full body stretch and a yawn. Oh. And then when you're ready, rolling onto one side and starting to make your way up to a comfortable seat. If your hips are naturally quite stiff or they're still feeling quite stiff, maybe you sit up onto a cushion or a block. And when you're ready, I invite you to bring your palms together, your thumbs to your heart space, and gently bow your head to your heart. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. Namaste.